Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Friday. Welcome to Living Astrology with Janet Hickox. It's time to grab your cup of coffee or your tea or your hot water, whatever it is you're drinking this morning, and sit back so we can chat about what is happening in the stars above. It is an interesting day. I got to tell you, some days are magical. And I've had a couple of magical days this week, and it's truly exciting. I wish I could share all the details of it, but I can't at the moment because they're all still ideas that are clinking around in my mind and in my head. Um, but I can attribute that to the times we are in, right? With Mercury in retrograde. So taking us backwards in time a little bit to ideas or projects that maybe we had to put on the shelf for some reason, that now we can bring them back. It is also a time with especially Neptune sitting at that 29th degree of Pisces and having been sitting there for several months now at that very critical degree. And what dawned on me is that when a planet sits at a 29th degree, let's say, for an extended period of time, such as this one, and usually it's the outer planets that can do this, right? Neptune being an outer planet related to our spirituality, related to our imagination, related to the ether, if you will, right? The unseen realm and the dream world. And it is from the dream world that I bring you the most funny thing that has happened to me this week. And I'm hoping you guys are all experiencing these things. I know some of you are having difficulties. I know some of you are challenged beyond belief, it seems like. I've had challenges that stagger the mind at times this summer. but but all in all, the purpose here is to shake us loose from the old, right? The old paradigm, the old beliefs, the old way of doing things. When you're willing, able to do that, then things go a lot smoother than if you find yourself stuck or rigid or, in a closed minded or narrow minded way. And that can be about any number of things in your life, like beliefs about what you think you can or can't do, the relationships that you're in that might have caught you up in this narrow space. For me, it's been about the work that I do. And in the middle of the night, I woke up. No, I didn't really wake up, but I was aware, lucid dreaming, as it were. And I kept hearing this phrase going round and round in my head to the point where this morning I made sure when I got up that I wrote it down because it seemed important to me. And it might not mean a whole lot to you all, but it will mean a lot to you when I start to apply this to you, right, in your chart. And I guess what I had been doing in my dreams was thinking about human design and the nature of the sun and the earth and the two columns, right? The two columns, the black and the red. In most charts, it'll be black or red. The black column being all about your soul's purpose, right? Your cosmic self. And if you have your own chart with you this morning, your own human design chart, I want you to take on the black column, which might say personality up at the top. I want you to write cosmic self or cosmic purpose, right? As everything down that column has to do with your cosmic purpose, right? This wasn't part of the dream. This is me just reminding you about what these things are. And then the red column, the one on the left side, is all about your life purpose, right? It is literally how you embody the energy from the soul purpose or the cosmic purpose. So the phrase that kept going through my head as I woke up this morning and ended up sitting down and actually writing it on a human design chart is that the earthly expression of your cosmic purpose is the red column. And that is your embodiment of your purpose. And like I said, I know that might not mean a whole lot to you all sitting out there in the audience, but to me, it was huge because I, of course, applied it immediately to my own life, right, to my own chart because I know my own chart. And some of you, I know your charts as well, but in this case, I know mine. And I know that my soul purpose lies in the gate 12 and in the gate 11, which is about the sharing of my voice, the delivering of divine transmissions, as it were, um, that come from ideas or that come from the spiritual realm. That is my sole purpose. But how was I to express that? Because it could have been expressed in a million different ways, right? Because there's, well, 64 different ways, I suppose, because there's the 64 different gates or gene keys that can express through. But in my case, it expressed through the voice of spirit. The gate 25 sits on the sun in my life purpose or my embodiment or my cosmic expression of my earthly self. And that is also at the gate 46, the earth. So I'm expressing divine information or cosmic information in a way that engenders spirit and physical body embodiment. So I'm the physical embodiment of divine spirit or the wisdom coming from the divine universe. I went, "Oh my," I was just gobsmacked. If I have time today, I'm going to take a couple of your charts and we're going to play that same game, right? We're going to try to see if I can do this on air, but I have so much to talk about today. We might have to do that on Monday. And just, I know most of you have always given me permission to use your charts, so I'll just pick and choose people. And if you take exception to it, then you can just tell me that. But again, I don't know that I will get there. But that's how my morning started out with this idea um, about how it is that we embody. And you can literally take any planet. So I was thinking about Mercury this morning as well. Mercury's in retrograde. We have a few things to talk about with Mercury this morning. And I thought, okay, my Mercury is at the gate 39 on my soul purpose side. So the cosmic purpose of my Mercury is to provoke people. Now, I do it in a very sweet way most of the time, right? I'm not mean about how I provoke. Some people are really, just like out there and can be very provocative in the things that they say. But the words that I deliver, whether it's to you in this context of a YouTube, or whether it is me having a conversation with you, or whether it is me have doing a session or a reading for you, I deliver that as a provocation, provoking you. And that provocation has a purpose, right? The embodiment of that provocation for me on the earth side is at the gate 55, which is the gate of faith and abundance and spirituality, the literal emotional alignment with the gifts of spirit. So, provocation, my Mercury provoking you by the words I say or the ideas I share, is about moving you back to spirit, to the embodiment of your pure, true self. That's Mercury. My superpower in that it was teaching. So teaching through that. And you all have these things, these pieces, right? That are a very telling piece. And the reason I chose Mercury is, one, I am a Gemini, so Mercury is my ruling planet. Two, if I'm a communicator, which I know I am from my divine communication is my soul's gift, then Mercury would be the way that would be delivered. So that there's no mistake why I chose Mercury to look at in terms of provoking people with new ideas or with to get away from their old beliefs or things like that. And we could do that with any planet. If you're a Libra, then I might do that with you looking through your Venus, because Venus is the ruling planet for Libra and also for Taurus. So if you're a Taurus, I might look at your Venus and say the same thing, right? But only through the context of relationships or money or through love, right? So anyway, I'm rambling a bit about this, but I just wanted to say that the earthly expression of your cosmic purpose is written in your human design. And we can view that through any one of the planets astrologically, in a sign, in a house, in a degree, in a gate, in a gene key. And we can look deeper and deeper and deeper and, uh, uncover the layers of who you are and who you are meant to be so that we're discovering the truth. And along the way, we're going to bump up against your beliefs. We're going to bump up against your stuck points. I bumped up against my stuck points. And there's a whole story about that I'll share some other time. But I have been bumping up against my stuck points. And all of a sudden, this helps me see how to move beyond those stuck points, right? Literally, I did not see myself until recently, like in the last day or two, as really living out my life purpose. I thought I was wandering, wandering, that I really wasn't on purpose or on task. But it turns out I'm on task, right? I've just been in my own way this whole time about how it was I was going to deliver the message and all of that. So it's really revealing. And of course, it impacts the way that I do readings now for you all, right? So I would encourage you, if you've had a human design reading already with me, then book yourself a refresher reading. You can find that on my website under Human Design tab. Click on Human Design Readings, and there's a refresher reading, right? To refresh your memory about what your human design is all about, where I can take a look at it like this. If you've not yet had a human design reading, then it's time, right? Don't you want to be on path? Don't you want to know what it is that you're here to do and how to get there? How to make the best decisions to align you with your truth, with your authenticity, right? So it's time. Again, on my website, living-astrology.com, under the tab that says human design, drop it down. There are astrology or human design readings, excuse me. Go to that and let's have this conversation in the context of your own chart or your own life. All right, let's say good morning real quickly to everybody before we launch into all of the content I have for today. Let's see, good morning. I saw first Debbie, who is saying, please say this energy will change. It will. It always does. That's the one thing we can always count on, isn't it? That the energy will shift. And Diana S., good morning, grateful and sending highest love vibrations to all. I love it. Good morning, Teddy. Hello, Tom, Joan, and Christine Buckingham. Jolie, Christine says, so cosmic equals soul. Yes, exactly. And Jolie, happy birthday to me. Use my chart, please. Jolie, happy birthday to you. And Narges, good morning to you. J-Lo, hello. Debbie Tibbetts Tumiel says you can use mine. Woohoo. See, I always know I can count on you guys. I will go back 7 minutes and listen at 2x speed. Do you know how many times I do that, J-Lo? I go, got to do this faster. Corey, GM. Great minds? I don't know. Awesome. J-Lo, it sounds juicy already for me listening from the start. Gayla, good morning. And she says, I have so much energy. You know what? I do too. And to the point I was doing so many things. I didn't even have time to do my hair this morning because I blow dried it and that was it. So get it out of my face at the moment. J-Lo, oh, wow, that sounds like me now. Janet, I have Gemini ascendant. I wonder if this happens more for the air signs than the wandering due to being that it's a not seen element. It, definitely. But you know what? Everybody's being hit by all of this air energy. Gemini's and Jupiter's in Gemini. Mercury is retrograde in Leo. Those two express well together, right? The energies of your divine passions and your self-expression that meet up with Jupiter embracing the bigger picture and of your conversations perhaps, or of your next steps. So yes, definitely. Londa, hello, and J-Lo, you're always welcome to use mine. See, I can always count on you guys. Corey, good morning to you as well. All right, so let's dive in. I want to bring up a couple of key things. One, the moon is in Aries. I am not going to go tirelessly into the moon in Aries. We've been here, done this before. So let me just say, when the moon is in Aries, it's a time for new beginnings. It's a time to confront or to be bold and step forward in some way, shape, or form. It is interesting today because at 5:44 a.m. Pacific time, so what is that, 8:44 a.m., I meant 5:44 a.m., and 8:44 a.m. on the East Coast of the US, the moon went into the void, and she is in a long one, people. She will be there until 5 p.m. this afternoon. So, literally, all of Friday, all of the working day, basically, the moon is going to be in a place where she's just sort of wandering around. Right? There's not a lot that's going to get done today that's new and exciting. So the moon in Aries can be very frustrated by this long void, of course. But what it does give us an opportunity to do is to really work with the last aspect that the moon made before she went into the void. And that happens to be a trine to Mercury in retrograde. So our minds are stimulated, right? Our ability to maybe look backwards to the past and bring, forward key information, or to, bring forward new ideas, even, or ideas that we put up on the shelf that we couldn't take action on at that point for whatever reason. We can dust them off and bring them forward. And we have literally 12 hours today to be considering those kinds of things, right? Because Mercury in retrograde always brings us to the past in some way, shape, or form, right? It's backwards, right? So and it's the mind, right? Mercury rules the mind. So the mind goes backwards, which means sometimes while we're considering the past, we make mistakes in the future, or excuse me, in the now, because we're, ruminating, or we're, not quite all there because a part of us is, going backwards. This is why Mercury retrograde causes, problems with our technology, or with our the different things that Mercury rules, because often we're focused somewhere else while our focus needed to be here in the now to catch whatever it is that we were just about to break or lose or whatever, right? That's kind of how that works. But it does give us incredible access to sort of the underpinnings of our minds and our ideas. So today, while the moon is in this very long void, of course, use it to go into the mind and take a look at, what things are coming back up from the past. What are the breakdowns or the issues that you're confronting in the now related to something from the past? I mean, it's not always going to be a one-to-one kind of thing, but I note often for people when there's a lot of mechanical breakdowns that always seem to come, in a Mercury retrograde. And the mechanical breakdowns can, are akin, they're not exact, but they're akin to the body and what's breaking down in the body, or what needs attention in your physical body. So there could be, sort of this picturing of what's going on. So, for example, your air conditioner breaks down and that leads to more heat. So, if you want to equate that to the body, where in the body is there too much heat, right? Or where is it that the heat needs to be released in some way? And, literally, you could think about this in many different ways. It's not just exactly only that. But if you look at the preponderance of things that are going on in your life, it'll show you if you're willing to step back and get out of the chagrin of all of the crap that's happening to you, and step back and go, okay, how is this related to my spirit, or to my physical body, to my mental or emotional body? Because it's a projection, right? We're living in this projected world where the things that are happening are really projections from inside of us about what needs to be dealt with that we haven't dealt with, what needs to be cleared, what needs to be released, what needs to be brought more into reality. So think about that, right? And you could also do it by what's going right in your life, right? What some of you out there, I'm sure, are just having these wonderful experiences during this period of time. And during this period of time, then that should be the picture of what's been going on within you, right? So if you've been changing and, moving through old issues, or, you know, bringing more of your truth out, and it's being reflected to you in your outer world, then pat yourself on the back and do more of what you've been doing, right? Because that out picture, that outer world is showing you where you are in terms of your life path trajectory. Now, that doesn't mean, I mean, because we all, now, don't take this for like everything. Like, Sometimes your breakdown on your car is just because you forgot to have the tires rotated and you got a flat tire. I mean, sometimes it is literally just that. But you could look at that and think, well, where else in my own life have I forgotten to take care of me? Right? Where have I forgotten to nurture myself? Right? So even some of the smallest things can sometimes be akin to what's going on within you. And then sometimes when we have the conglomeration of things, then it's an even bigger call for us to do that deeper dive and look at how it is that we are living our life and what does it mean for us. And it's going to be different for all of you. Like, you just can't say, oh, it's always about this, because it isn't. It's going to be personalized to what's going on with you. So the trine from the moon in Aries to Mercury in retrograde might be a great help for us to get into that new beginning energy and take a look at what it is that's going on in our outer world now that we want to change. Or here's another key. I'm going to step ahead here just a titch in the broadcast because the sun happens to be in the gate 59 right now. And the gate 59 is called in quantum human design the gate of sustainability. So maybe the spotlight, the sun, right, the focus is on what is no longer sustainable in your behaviors, in your spending, in your health, in your relationships, in your jobs, in your inner world, in your outer world, right? So we're already focusing on those kinds of themes, right? Fun. All right. So on Saturday, the moon will move out of Aries and into Taurus. That kind of calms things down a little bit, smooths things, as it were, and beautifies, sensitizes our connection to the physical world, right? So it'll be a great weekend to, get a massage or light some candles. We have October going on here, where suddenly the high today is going to be 59 and it's raining. So Ogtober for us for the weekend anyway. So take that time to light your candles or to, do things that make you feel good. It's a great weekend for that. And that'll be Saturday and Sunday. Sunday evening, the moon will transit out of Taurus and into Gemini, but we'll talk about that on Monday during the show. Now, let's take a quick look then at an aspect pattern that's occurring right now, and that is Mercury in retrograde isn't just being triggered by the moon today, but he's also triggering a trine with Chiron. And also will sextile Mars. So Mercury in retrograde is kind of taking the place of the moon. Instead of the moon triggering things today, it's Mercury in retrograde. And there's a real healing message coming through, right? With Mercury retrograde in Chiron, again, there's this tendency to go backwards in our thinking, backwards in our consideration, or in our, going deeper inward. And for healing purposes in this case, because it's Chiron and Chiron's in Aries. Right? Chiron's in Aries. It speaks to your identity, who you think you are, how you express yourself, how you confront your day-to-day living, right? This is Aries. So we can look to the past then for clues to what to heal or how to heal or what is in need of healing, right? Looking to the past for that. And I think that, Mercury retrograde here gives us this impulse, this wanting, this desire to do something with our ideas, with that air energy. What do we do with all of this air energy? Is it something that we want to teach? Is it something that we want to share? Is it something that we want to learn? Is it something we want to hold discussions about? Right? It's a real communicative healing, right? Communication, healing through communication, right? That sounds about right here. And it also asks another question. What are you dedicated to? Are you dedicated to looking deeper within to find the answers that you're searching for? Are you dedicated to, and I'm taking that word deliberately because the sun's just moved out of the gate 29, which could be called the gate of dedication or devotion or commitment, right? And so that's left over here as the sun's moved on into the 59. But what are you dedicated to? What are you willing to do to change the experiences that you're having. Now, does that mean you have to do something in the physical world? Maybe, likely. But it could also mean that you have to do something with the thought processes, the mind. Mercury is involved here. And maybe there's something you must change or let go of, is another way to think about that. So think about that for this long term moon in the void, of course, at Mercury retrograde, actually really, thrusting into our conscious mind. What are you dedicated to do or to be? And then reviving programs or projects or ideas from the past, right? That's another kind of thing that's been, there for us with this. So it's a really healing time. And I know some of you are experiencing the worst of the worst out there. Um, and sometimes it just you're gobsmacked by the sheer number of things that are piling up. But take the time to consider, what is all of that in meaning? How is this serving my healing moving forward? Right? So, and it's a big one for some, right? It's a big theme. And if you need help with that, I'm open to questions, right? You can certainly say, this is what's happening in my life. How come? Or what do I do about it? Right? And that can constitute a reading for you, right? That kind of a reading. All right. Now I want to jump into what am I jumping into here? I want to jump into Jupiter's move this week. This was something I was going to talk about on Monday and I just didn't get to it. And that is the fact that Jupiter in Gemini has moved into the gate 45. And there's an interesting theme running through this right now because the sun's moved into the gate 59. We think of that gate as the gate of provision as well. So it sometimes has a financial sort of energy associated with it. The Earth is in the gate 55, which is another sort of gate around abundance and alignment of our emotions so that we can live abundantly. And then Jupiter at the gate 45 is also a money gate. Literally, it's a money gate. And I noticed first off this morning, I got this news thing that came across that said that Jerome Powell, I think is his name, the Fed guy, is thinking that they're going to drop the interest rates here in the US, the prime rates dropping by a quarter to a half a point, maybe more, I don't know. And that's good financial news, right? So finances, economy, and now we have these gates, these three gates that are sort of bringing that up to our conscious mind. And all of you now will have the gate 45 defined by Jupiter and the gate 59 defined by the sun and the 55 defined by the earth. And that's irregardless of what gates that you have defined that might make connections to those three gates that we're talking about. And I think what I'll do is I will show you a graphic here. Hold on one second. Share my screen. Here we go. All right. Oh, good. And I already had marked the gate 45. So you guys should be seeing this gate 45 right here. This is where Jupiter is. It's on the throat center. And it's really a benevolent and expansive kind of energy. It is a gate that is related to leadership energy and resources and how we manage resources, specifically how we manage and distribute wealth, knowledge, influence, and other resources, right? Our time, things like that. Um, and this transit really invites us to take a look at maybe being more prominent as a leader in our communities, in our environment, like our work world, or maybe in our families, or literally at the community level, community leadership, but also to share our resources more wisely and to cultivate generosity and good stewardship. Right, this is an interesting energy, and it's even more fascinating now, to me anyway, probably to you all, as Jupiter sits here for quite the time, right? As Jupiter at this moment is slowing down as he is approaching his retrograde station. And then in retrograde, he'll hang here at this gate for a bit before he starts the move backward and leaves the 45. And the gate is activated now from August 17th. So a couple of days ago, last Saturday, um, until December 2nd. So we have a long time to really consider the Jupiter impact at this particular gate. So if you have questions, like for example, in my own chart, I do not have the gate 45 defined, nor do I have the gate 21 defined. So for me, this becomes a hanging gate. It would look just like this in my chart, hanging, which means literally I'm going to play this out with other people because it would be someone with the gate 21 that has a resource that would work for me and would, move into that gate's energy. But you might have this gate already defined. It's already colored in your chart. And it could be colored in black or red, or if you've got the chart from my website, it would either be turquoise like this or magenta like this. And take a look at what planet is at that gate, because now the sun, or excuse me, now Jupiter is adding his energy to the planet that you have there already. Right? If you, let's say you have Mercury sitting at the gate 45. Now this Jupiter is joining with Mercury and creating a pathway for maybe more verbalizing about leadership or about financial savvy or about sharing resources or the appropriate use of resources. And that can happen within your relationships or within your work or within your community, whatever level at which you are out there in the world. So, and for some of you, you might have this entire channel defined. So, again, same thing, look at the planets that are involved. Some of you might have it that looks like this. Hold on, let me get that back out of there. Some of you might have the gate 21 defined and it's hanging like this. And now with Jupiter at 45, you have the entire channel, which is sometimes called the money line in human design. And this line is all about how to manage resources wisely. Any resource, typically money, but time, people, your energy, right? Managing those resources. So everybody's can look a little bit different. And of course, this is where having your own human design chart handy can really help, because then you can visually see what it is that's lining up for you. And if you're someone who has that gate 21 already defined, then this channel will be defined for you all the way through December 2nd, right? So it's a long term. It's important. It has a theme, and that theme is going to be about leadership and authority. And leadership and authority, it's located on the throat center. So this is something we talk about. This is something we create, that we bring into being, that we manifest. And it is often associated then with rulership, the ability to guide others. In traditional human design, this was called the gate of the king or the gate of the queen. I don't particularly like that name. It's old. It is now called the gate of distribution through quantum human design. I like that better because the 45 is all about being the holder of the resources and how do I share those resources with others, right? So it's it's a community kind of energy or a family kind of energy of releasing resources or sharing resources, which also brings up the need then, especially with the sun today at gate 59, to become a good steward of said resources, of your money, of your energy, of your time, of the people that you work with, or that if that maybe you're the leader of a group of people, and how do you best manage them as a resource, right? Or manage the people, the colleagues that you work with. And it strongly focuses us on managing and distributing resources in a sustainable way, right? Whether those resources are material or intellectual or spiritual. It just emphasizes the responsibility that we have on distributing them wisely, fairly, and it's about understanding the value that you have and how you can use your gifts, your skills, your resources to uplift and support others. So, Jupiter on this gate for a long time, really bringing that home for each one of us. The gate 45 is tribal energy. In tribal energy, we in circuitry, right? It's tribal circuitry. We're dealing with the energy of love here. And I mean, all three of the circuits deal with love, but in a different way. The tribal circuitry really deals with the love of connection, of community, of family, of tribe, right? How we love. And that means that we need to stay deeply connected to a sense of what is the most loving thing for the most number of people. And the focus is not just on your individuality or your individual success, but how can we bring together resources and share them in a way that becomes equitable or becomes something that everybody can partake in, right? So it encourages us to think about how our actions and our decisions impact everyone around us. Okay. Now, transiting Jupiter in gate 45 has the theme of expansion and abundance, right? You can't get away from that. There's the whole expansiveness that Jupiter holds and leadership that the gate 45 holds. So this is you needing to step up, right? We're all stepping up. There may be opportunities for us to step into roles like leadership or career promotions, or taking on something that is uniquely that you're uniquely capable of delivering. And Jupiter's expansive energy here encourages us to embrace these new roles, right? Or to be optimistic and more purposeful in how we apply our gifts and our talents out in the world. So it kind of imbues us with some confidence, and the confidence to move forward and lead, right? Lead by the example, perhaps, if you're a role model. Lead by just being yourself, like if you happen to be a line 5 out there. Leading through the experiences of success or failure, if you're a line 3. Leading through the example of heart centeredness and connection. Lots of different ways that we can look at this for you. This gate is also holding visionary qualities, visionary leadership. It promotes that visionary leadership style, and it focuses on the greater good. So when you think about leaders and who we need as a leader, who's the best leader or role models, they're the ones that lead with generosity. They ensure that the actions that they take benefit the most number of people or the communities, and they are leading by consensus, right? They're building consensus. So visionary leadership is desperately needed right now, right? In this world, and something that Jupiter will have us really honing in on over these next several months. There's also about generosity that comes here. Generosity in terms of abundance, having an abundance mindset, right? Not about lack or scarcity, but really about abundance, encouraging us to cultivate that abundance mindset rather than holding on to resources tightly because tomorrow they might be gone, or fear and scarcity, those kinds of thinking. Trusting that there is enough for everyone. This is a big theme, and it can manifest like us sharing knowledge or wisdom, or sharing our wealth, our money in some way, or support for others. Like, if you can't share money, maybe you can share of your time, or your caring, your commitment to helping others. It is overall a generosity of spirit that we're building here. And the transit really highlights that generosity, not just in the material realm, but also in how we offer our time, our attention, and our wisdom. How do we share of ourselves in a bigger way? So it invokes wise distribution of material resources, but also mental, emotional, and spiritual resources. And then the strategic stewardship is another great word here. While Jupiter encourages generosity, the gate 45 reminds us that we have to be wise in how we distribute those resources in order to make it sustainable, right? Even if you are a millionaire, if you are not wise about that money and how you spend it, um, someday it could be gone, right? So it's about how to wisely distribute, how to take care and be a good steward of resources. And at the same time, it's an excellent time to empower others, right? Focus on how you can empower others through sharing the resources that you have. Whether providing opportunities or mentoring or sharing your insights in the right way at the right time with the right people. The goal here with Jupiter at the gate 45 is to uplift, to empower, to support others, um, to create sort of a long term growth and prosperity for all, right? For all, not just the rich. So it's focused on community, collaboration, it's tribal energy, so that it stresses the importance of that community and creates a pathway to collective prosperity, right? Collective prosperity. So it'll be an interesting transit to be sure, and one that I'm kind of excited to see how it plays out for us um, during these next few months. So I'm going to go back and see how people are doing. Are there questions about that? Um, Thank you, JLo, for that reminder. Please take a moment, hit the like button, and share the broadcast with others. I love it when that happens. Asa, good morning to you. And Janet, what if we have one of the most spoken of asteroids? Is it Eris? And at 21, um, and also Metis. So, the thing about the asteroids is they're not really well documented in human design. But I'm learning more about these things. So if you can find what gate Eris, for example, is sitting at, and the planet Eris, or that she's a dwarf planet, is all about discord, and she disturbs the peace, right? She's going to just bring up the you know what, right? The muck, and she can do some very devious things to bring that to your attention, right? She's the one in, mythology that threw out the golden apple that said to the fairest of all, and all the, women went gaga over it and were fighting over it and blah, 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 right? There's lots of myths around Eris. So it's the discord that often shows the shadow, right? The underneath the surface stuff. So then what's underneath the surface, if she's the one sitting at your gate 21, might be control issues, right? How it is that you're trying to maintain tight control on yourself, on others, on resources, on wealth, on knowledge, on whatever it might be. So she dumps it out on your head, right? And she makes you look at it and reframe it in some way, right? The 21 in quantum human design is the gate of self regulation, right? It's not just about control, it's about self regulating, regulating your own responses, regulating your own resources. So it can be very positive, but Eris will upend those things to show you by contrast where you're out of alignment. That is her job. Metis, I'm not as quite sure what she represents, but we can look into the mythologies for that. Um, at one point, I did have interest in her, and now it's totally out of my mind what she meant. So take a look at her meaning in regular astrology and then apply it to the gate that she happens to be sitting in. All right. Hello, hello. Pura energia, Portugal. Love and joy for you and yours from Portugal. Thank you. It's great to have you with us this morning. Asa, Jana. Oh my gosh, Jana, that is so funny because you came into my mind yesterday. I don't even the thought I had was, "Wow, I wonder what she's up to because I haven't seen her or talked to her." So funny that you're here this morning. I would love to hear about what's going on in your life and how things are progressing. Lo says makes so much sense to me, and how sometimes I don't jump into answering my children. Thank you. You're welcome. Um, I live for these kinds of aha moments. Okay, time wise, where are we at time? Oh my God, where's time flying to? We also did not get to talk about the sun's move into Virgo. And I'd really like to talk about that, but I'm going to do it in a different way. And I'm going to do it. Oh my gosh, your life got upended. Oh, wow. Yes. Well, hasn't everybody's in some way, shape, or form? Some more tragically than others, perhaps. Some, more, in a way that's very challenging. Some, like mine, upended in a way that was freeing in some ways. So, um, I'd love to have a chat with you about that. Sun in Virgo. I want to do this a little differently because I think we all kind of have an idea about the sun in Virgo, right? Focusing on organizational energy, practicality, getting things in order. And in a way, we're paying attention to the details, right? Seeing the small, but maybe losing sight of the big. So we have to remember details, and the forest and the trees are important, right? Um, Virgo's focus on health and wellness in our charts. It rules the sixth house of the body, of health of the body and well being of the body. So, bringing us to the consideration about our self care routines, our healing energies, and the maintenance energies, right? I am a big one on making sure that we maintain, our good health through our conversations with our doctors or naturopaths or whoever you see, and just having them weigh in on the reality of what's going on in your bodies. Maybe it's time to start a new fitness routine. Maybe it's time to let go of a fitness routine and do it in a different way, because Virgo energy is also about refinement and improvement, right? So we're dialing in and perfecting in some ways the routines, the health, and the practicalities of our day-to-day lives, right? And there's also skill development here. Virgo perfects, and that means we're always honing our skills, whether it's about how you talk or about what you do or how you do an art project, or, we're perfecting. It is also a sign of service and helping others. So, again, that focus comes in the acts of service that we might need to bring more into focus. Humility and practical compassion, right? The compassion from our hearts, and how do we practically express that in our relationships or in our world, and analytical thinking, right? She is a sign ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is all about the mind and thinking and analyzing, seeing the details when in Virgo. So it means that that analytical thinking might be, pointed toward problem solving. Um, wow, that's amazing now that I've said that, because, yeah, wow. Clarity and logic, right? Being able to use the aha moment, which I had one yesterday, that can help you refocus your energy, your direction in life, your actions, right? But there are challenges in the sun's Virgo transit, and that is all about perfectionism, right? We want to perfect, but we don't want to go into perfectionism, because that improvement can be something that becomes a habit, or becomes, a voice in your head that says it's not perfect yet, it's not perfect yet, it's not perfect yet, and continual improvement, which is over the top, right? Which is also something that will stop you from putting out that book, or putting out that program, or having that conversation, or going where you want to go, right? Because it's not perfect yet. So we got to watch for that. We've also got to be watchful for being overly critical, overly criticizing of ourselves and others, right? We need to learn to recognize when good enough is truly good enough, right? And we can always tweak later if we find out, or some piece of information comes to us, something new that says, well, maybe I need to tweak that thing a little bit more. But sometimes you just have to choose. when to act. And this is one of those times where we have to worry about this, where we have to stop overthinking. Actually, I don't want you to worry about it. I want you to not worry. I want you to take practical actions. And I also suggest that you get out of your head, right? At some point, we have to get out of our head. We could be so worried about the details and so focused on the minutia that we miss the bigger picture. So we got to watch out for that. And that can lead us in this thing that we call analysis paralysis, with this endless loop of analyzing and determining, making changes, then reanalyzing and making changes, and on and on. So remember to trust your instincts, your gut, your intuition. The opposite sign of Virgo is Pisces, a very intuitive sign. Bring in that intuition, listen to that intuition, that wisdom. So, the best way to use the sun in Virgo's energy is to set practical goals, achievable goals, right? Things that you can work toward. And then if something needs some refinement, then you can do that, right? You can dial it in a little bit. So, it's not enough just to know about the sun in Virgo, because now we until September 23rd, I believe it is, September 22nd, we have the sun in Virgo. So these lessons are things that we're going to learn over the time of a month, right? So a month from now. Um, but we can dial those in a little bit closer if we look at them through human design, which is what I really wanted to do this morning too, because each gate. First of all, I want to illustrate through the gates that are in Virgo what those Virgo themes are, right? So human design sometimes gives us more words, more dialogue to talk about the themes. And that is what I focused on this morning, looking at what are those themes. So I'm going to share my screen again into presentation mode. And I'm going to get this out of here. Oh, because I have the gate there. Duh. Boom. Boom. No, empty. Well, I don't know why this isn't working. There's nothing there, so it should be white. All right, whatever. We'll just pretend it's white. So there are Virgo themes that we see in the gates of Virgo, right? So Virgo being the astrology side, the gates being more related to human design, and the first gate that the sun went through in Virgo was the gate 29. We talked about this gate last week because this is the gate of commitment, saying yes, right? Its theme is about enduring in what matters most. So Virgo's influence here naturally aligns with the theme of commitment, right? Because this sign is known for its dedication, its thoroughness, and its desire to improve. And the gate 29 emphasizes the perseverance needed, the dedication needed to see something through, right? And that saying yes to life's experience revolves around purpose and commitment. So the 29 here is a very Virgo theme, and Virgo's analytical nature here really helps to discern which commitments are worth your time, your efforts, right? Which should be released as well, right? Which ones let go, which ones say yes to, right? Big deal. Then the next Virgo gate was 59. And by the way, these are on the sacral center. I could color in the sacral there. The sacral center. So this really is organizing our doing and our being, right? So being dedicated, being devoted to something, persevering and enduring until that occurs, that whatever it is that you're persevering through. The 59 is the doing of provisioning, right? This is the gate that creates resources and then provides resources. It's the power to create resources and sustain connections. The 59 is related to intimacy. It is related to distribution of resources as well. And it's also a very sexual energy. So it's how do we sustain our creative energies and make sure that all are provided for. Okay. So Virgo's influence here is about the practical approach to life. And this aligns with the focus that 59 has on provisioning and creating of resources, right? So the gate's about breaking down the barriers to intimacy, creating opportunities for connection that then lead to abundance for the tribe. This is tribal energy. This is masculine tribal energy here. So with interesting masculine tribal energy, but in a feminine sign. So it reminds us that we have to balance those big energies, the physical manifestation of the masculine and the physical manifestation of the feminine, in order to properly and appropriately provide for the tribe or the family or the community or the nation or the world, right? They're big energies. And it's time to build and nurture then what sustains us both practically and emotionally in this particular gate, which is where we are this week, right? We're this week, the sun at the gate 59. Now, the next gate that is a Virgo gate is the gate 40, which is on the will center. And to me, this is probably the most interesting at all because the theme in this gate here is also a Virgo theme, but one that we don't see all that easily. And this is the importance of rest and restoration and balancing work with recovery. So the energy of the gate 40 says you need to rest and in order to restore your energy or burnout ensues, right? This is the will center that this is on. This is the center for our resources, money, time, energy. And if we don't balance work and rest, then we go into depletion. And that's a very Virgo theme, right? It's a very Virgo theme. And the theme being about, you know, associated with the well-being piece, but also the need for productivity and work. And we can get carried away with the work and the productivity and keep going and going and going without thinking about the rest. And the energy of this center, it pulses. It's not sustainable to do always be doing in this center. The center pulses off and on. And if we push through the off, we can start to really burn out. We can start to find ourselves anxious and tense. We can find ourselves literally with heart issues or with anxiety issues, depressions, things like that. So, rest is an interesting Virgo energy. It's the balance point to all of that productivity. And when the sun sits here for that week, we will be urged to really balance that in our lives. After that, the sun will jump up to the gate 64, 64, which is called the gate of divine transference in quantum human design. It's called the gate of clarity, perhaps, in traditional human design. And this is where we're able to move from confusion to clarity through divine inspiration. This is that light bulb, perhaps, that comes on. So, what we have here is Virgo's influence of the analytical and detail oriented nature that can get us stuck in this overthinking or this overanalyzing of our energy or of our wisdom or of our knowledge or of what we're doing. But when we balance it with the gate 64's energy, it's an opportunity to find clarity through a higher perspective, through tapping into intuition or your higher self, sorting through the confusion, as it were, to arrive at divine insights. Ideas are divinely transferred to us, right? This is epiphany kind of energy. But during this time at this gate, the 64, it's about releasing yourself from that overthinking so that you can tap into the higher wisdom. The next gate that the sun will hit is the gate 47, which lies on the Ajna and is the gate of the epiphany. This is where the mindset, the reframing of your mental patterns and transforming your limiting beliefs occurs, right? So out of the confusion comes the revelation, the epiphany, the aha, transforming those patterns that you are stuck in your mind, right? Virgo's natural tendency to analyze and to seek improvement can help you identify what those limiting beliefs are. It can help you find where your negative thought patterns are and what needs to be shifted. So it's a very important part of the Virgo energy here and allows us to cultivate a more empowered mindset that aligns with our higher purpose. So that's the gate 47. And then the gate 6 down here on the emotional center, which is the partner gate to our channel, makes the whole channel. The 6 is about impact. It's the power of emotional impact and resolving conflict. The gate 6 seeks peace. And because Virgo energy is practical, it's solution oriented, it can help us clarify the emotional dynamics that keep us out of peace, right? That have moved us away from peace. So Virgo's influence here can help us approach this idea of creating peace or of creating a consensus through practical solutions, through emotional understanding. So it's a time to be really mindful when the sun is moving through that gate later in the month, later next month, to be mindful of how you emotionally impact others and how your mindset impacts others. And then the last gate that a Virgo, which briefly, like a day or two, hits is the gate 46 up on the identity center, which is the gate of embodiment. And this is a reminder that we live in a physical world, that we are meant to be embodying life fully in the body and trusting in our body's wisdom, right? This is body wisdom, and Virgo's focus on health and healthy routines and well being affects the human physical body, right? So, this gate encourages us to be fully present in our bodies and really tap into what is our body telling us, trusting that the physical experiences that we're having are also informative in some way of maybe where we're out of balance spiritually, mentally, or emotionally, and gives us an opportunity to refine our health routines, to practice mindfulness, to stay grounded in our physical bodies. And it's time to align your physical life with your spiritual purpose. And that creates more harmony between your body, mind, and spirit. All very common themes with Virgo energy. So there's refinement and there's commitment. There's a balance that needs to be stressed from between work and rest. There's a need to shift our mindsets in order to grow and to clear the way, so to speak, for those divine inspirational thoughts to come in and land, right, to find their landing. There's emotional impact and the need for harmony and to create peace, to build consensus, to work together. And finally, trusting in embodiment, trusting in the physical realm that you are a part of. So I hope that was helpful because I think when we look at things just like a sign, Virgo, we get this one set of pictures. But when we blend that with human design or another system like human design, we get another set of pictures and then we get to see how they blend. I love doing that. I hope that was informational for all of you. And Lo says, this is the best time to learn from the systems we love. Absolutely. All right, guys. I didn't get to read charts today, but we'll do that first thing on Monday. And that means, try to join us at the beginning because I'm going to try to do it at the beginning so I don't run out of time as I get to the end. And we'll take a look and do some of the um, expressing the embodiment of your soul purpose in your life as seen through the sun on both columns of your human design. All right, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great weekend. I will see you Monday. Bye for now.